What's going on, everybody? It's SaltyTreecko, and I was originally going to open this video by saying something like, Game Freak likes to do this fun little thing where they put, like, normally terrible Pokemon and they give them, like, these really overpowered abilities, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no the fuck they don't. Do I really think Cramorant knows what the hell they're doing with their Pokemon? No. Realistically, they just like to slap, like, moves and, like, abilities and, like, random base stats, like, through, like, RNG or random generation, and if it makes like logical sense, then all the better for it. But no, realistically, Game Freak has no idea what the hell they're doing. But in spite of Game Freak's complete incompetence, we have these fun little anomalies of Pokemon that I'm going to talk about today. And I think these are especially interesting cases because the range of how good the Pokemon ends up actually being in competitive or even in casual play is pretty varied, and you'll see Pokemon be completely overpowered even with these like terrible stats and abilities and typings. Actually not abilities, that's like the whole point of the video. But some also completely end up being in the dumpster, and I think this cool dichotomy makes it pretty interesting to talk about in the grand scheme of things. Make sure to like, subscribe, boom, all that jazz, etc, blah blah blah. First, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite anomalies in competitive Pokemon of all time, and that's the fact that Bidoof was banned from Ubers. Yeah. Essentially, Bidoof has this, and Bibarel both had this one ability called Moody, which they got in Gen 5, and what it does is it increases one of your stats by +2 and another stat by -1 every turn. This sounds like kind of balanced because it's like, okay, you accumulate stats over time, but the thing is, you accumulate stats so fast and you have like sub and protect that literally you can just have like infinite stats after like a reasonable amount of turns and you could just never die. And this just makes you completely broken. You're the Uber Slayer. You can kill God. Literally, you can kill God and his cronies. So yeah, Bidoof was banned from Ubers at one point, but that's not the only ability that Bibarel and Bidoof has. By the way, I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing Bibarel's name right. It might be Bibarel. I guess the only way I'm going to find out is when people start yelling at me in the comment section. Please have mercy on me. But it actually has two other abilities that would be considered basically overpowered on any other Pokemon other than Bidoof and, and Bibarel. It has... Just soak this in for a second. Think about, let's imagine a really good Pokemon like Garchomp. Pretty universally good Pokemon. It has a decent ability in Rough Skin. Imagine giving this mon Simple. Imagine you could give Garchomp the ability to Swords Dance and it gets +4 attack. And then it can Scale Shot, and the Scale Shot is not only +4 attack, but then it gives you +2 speed after using it. That would be a fucking Giga Uber Pokemon. That would be absolutely ridiculous. Really, the only thing that's going to be mattering is something like Intimidate. But even then, imagine Swords Dancing and get +4, you could see why this is a really OP ability. Moving on, it also has another pretty infamous ability in Unaware. Very famous for a lot of stall Pokemon having Unaware and just completely ruining offensive teams by running it. Pokemon like Clefable. In earlier gens, Pokemon like Quagsire, who, yes, of course, we are going to talk about later. It's a really great ability. The problem is, Bibarel really can't use either of these abilities. The matter of the fact is, Moody could literally be on fucking Weedle and it would still be overpowered. And Simple and Unaware, while they are abilities that could be considered overpowered, they do have to be on better Pokemon to take advantage of it. Even in, like, some middle gen, lower tiers, Bidoof, and I don't know why I keep saying Bidoof like it's an actual Pokemon. Bibarel really wasn't able to use them too effectively. The problem with Unaware is that it doesn't really have the tools to be like a Stallmon. To my knowledge, it doesn't have any recovery tools other than maybe like frickin' Aqua Ring or something, but imagine using Aqua Ring. I'm sure some of you didn't even know Aqua Ring was a move until now. And Simple, it does actually get a lot of moves that would benefit from the boost to Simple. It gets Swords Dance and it gets Curse, but unfortunately this Pokemon is terrible and it doesn't get stats. So, and it also doesn't have a typing, it is a normal water type. So this is a fun one because Bibarel, one ability made it absolutely overpowered just because it's such a fundamentally stupid ability. And remember when I said earlier, Game Freak has, like, no idea what they're doing? This is what I'm talking about. The fact that they ever thought this ability, like, could be, like, not ridiculous and broken and overpowered in any way. Or, honestly, maybe they did realize that, and they just didn't give a shit. I think honestly that's the more realistic approach, but it's just silly. Remember how I talked about Bidoof being banned from Ubers? Today we're going to talk about another silly Pokemon that was banned from Ubers because of a ridiculous ability, and once that ability got banned, got sent to the Shadow Realm. This Pokemon is Wobbuffet, and it has the ability Shadow Tag, which prevents foes from switching. Now, trapping is an inherently broken concept. You see Pokemon like Gothitelle and Dugtrio just have their abilities banned, just because trapping is just so overpowered in Pokemon. The issue with Wobbuffet is that it's even more overpowered because of its moveset. Wobbuffet only has, here, let me count this out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 moves in its entire move pool. The thing is, those moves are Encore, Counter, Mirror Coat, and Destiny Bond. And a Pokemon with Shadow Tag, and also, how much HP? Also base 190 HP. Wobbuffet is the ultimate Lamau, I'm going to kill you XD Pokemon. What happens with Wobbuffet is you bring it in. If it goes for a special or a status move, you click Encore. Lamau, you're locked into Encore. I'm going to go into a different Pokemon and take advantage of this. Also, you can't switch because I have Shadow Tag. If it goes into a physical move, and you can lock it into a physical move with Encore, Lamau, I am going to go to I'm going to click Counter, and because I have low defense and high HP, the next time you use that move, you're going to fucking die. If you click a special move, and God forbid, by the way, your choice Scarf or like specs are banned, God forbid, you click a special move in your choice specs, because you will be having Mirror Coat clicked against you, and guess what? You are going to fucking die. I guess the idea behind Wobbuffet is it's like a punching bag where you punch it in the face, and then it goes like, doing, and then it like bounces back and comically like hits you in the face and launches you across the room. And the difference is, instead of being like, wow, that was dumb, I got hit in the face and that hurt, you fucking die. So Wobbuffet is like a fundamentally broken Pokemon, and the funny thing about Wobbuffet is without Shadow Tag, it just doesn't function. Because, like, without the ability to trap the opponent, Wobbuffet doesn't deal any damage. It does not have a damage-dealing move. So you could just, like, switch, and Wobbuffet can't do anything. Like, if you hit Wobbuffet with any special, or any status move ever, like if you can Toxic Wobbuffet, or even burn it, like Wobbuffet will never do anything to your team, literally ever. So this is somehow an even more extreme case of viability than Bidoof, where this ability is just absolutely make or break on Wobbuffet. Without it, it does absolutely nothing, but with it, it is literally, you could kill any Pokemon in the world with this. Provided they are not a physical ghost type, but sorry dude, physical ghost types don't exist. Next up, we're going to talk about a Pokemon that was actually released really recently. We're going to be talking about Eiscue. Yes, the infamous worst sweeper in Scarlet and Violet. Eiscue is not a good Pokemon. It's a terrible Pokemon. However, its ability is actually ridiculously good. Eiscue's ability, Ice Face, is when you get hit with a physical attack and it won't deal any damage. This is essentially the equivalent of a physical substitute only. Now, it's not like a catch-all. It's not like Mimikyu's, like, Disguise used to be. However, it does have a effect where it reduces, or not reduces, it recycles this effect if snow is up. Eiscue also has the Ice type, meaning its defense is doubled in the new weather of snow, so in theory, this should be an absolutely broken sweeper. And then you look at the fact that it has no speed stat and no attack stat, and no special attack stat. So yeah, it just can't, like, do, like, anything at all. The thing is, it wouldn't be too bad, despite the fact that Ice Space doesn't stop status or special moves, because fundamentally, just like not taking any damage is kind of a crazy thing to happen on a Pokemon that has the move Belly Drum, which normally is a very niche move, because what it does is it halves your HP and then gives you +6 attack, the maximum attack. The problem with this is that Eiscue does not have the stats to, like, survive a strong special hit at 50% HP, and you have to be running Slackberry on it realistically, because its speed stat means it's never going to sweep you even in its new faster form. So essentially what happened to Eiscue is it has an ability that might be really good on another Pokemon, especially one that has Belly Drum, but it doesn't, like, have speed or attack, so it can't really do anything, and that's a real shame, because Eiscue was, like, a really hyped Pokemon when it initially came out in Scarlet and Violet, and then it did, like, nothing. People realized pretty quickly that this is a terrible Pokemon, and they never used it again. Goodbye forever, Eiscue. I'm never going to talk about you on this channel ever again. This next Pokemon is one I feel like doesn't get enough credit, and it's going to be Cramorant, and its ability is Gulp Missile. Essentially what Gulp Missile does is if you use Surf or Dive, and you get hit by the opponent automatically takes a quarter of their max HP, and it decreases their defense. Or, under some condition, which I always forget what it is, I think it's if you're under half health, instead of decreasing defense, it'll paralyze the opponent. So, let's think about this ability for a second. Let's say you use Surf. Okay, you're hitting the opponent with a decently strong stab move. Surf is a pretty reasonably good move. And if your opponent hits you back, they lose just for hitting you with any move. This isn't like Eiscue where it has to be specifically a physical move. If they touch you with any move whatsoever, you're taking a quarter of your HP, and you're either getting fucking paralyzed, which is ridiculous, or you get your defense decreased, which is making you extremely vulnerable, especially because you've just taken either a hit from Surf and or a quarter of your fucking HP. This ability is really damn good. The problem with this ability is that Cramorant has 85 speed, 85 attack, 85 special attack, and 55 defense. This Pokemon's stats do not exist. Maybe in Gen 1, this Pokemon's stats would have existed, but guess what? Lamau abilities came in Gen 3. Even in Gen 3, this would not have been a real Pokemon, probably. Also, another issue with Cramorant is that it decreases the physical defense. The problem with Cramorant is that its only physical move that does fucking anything is Brave Bird. And you really don't want to be running a mix set, because Dive is not a move you want to be using ever. Please do not be like, oh, but I'm going to get around this by using Dive. Do not use Dive. Dive is not a good move. So you have to run Surf and Brave Bird to take advantage of the -1 defense. You don't have to run Brave Bird. You can run Hurricane, but it's kind of against the point. You do have Roost, which is good, because the more you're alive, the more you can take advantage of your ability being ridiculous. And you do have some cool support moves like Defog. I think this gets U-turn too. Does it get U-turn? I'll check. It does not get U-turn. Never mind. I was lying out of my ass. But the problem is you have to be running a mix set to fully take advantage of the ability. And Cramorant does not have the base stats to properly run a mix set. Maybe if it had like 110 attack and 110 special attack, maybe then it could be doing real damage and actually be threatening with a mix set. But let's think about this for a second. It's 2024, it's Gen 9. Mixed Pokemon really don't exist unless your name is Iron Valiant. There are very few Pokemon that, even back in the earlier gens, were able to get away with running mix sets. And the only exception were like Blaziken and like Infernape, who specifically targeted certain Pokemon like Scar and Bliss teams. It is not that day anymore. I'm sorry, Cramorant. This ability would be really cool on a Pokemon with actual stats. Even Cramorant's other move pool isn't the rest of its move pool isn't too terrible. Maybe a physical move that wasn't Brave Bird and didn't do recoil. If you had a fighting move like Close Combat, well, maybe not Close Combat, but if you had a big strong move like Earthquake or something to follow up with that, that would be a really cool Pokemon. And the fact that this has recovery makes it even more questionable why it's so bad. The answer is, it doesn't have stats. Now, if you ask who the Jesus of Pokemon is, you're probably going to think a legendary Pokemon like Arceus' son, maybe Dialga or Palkia, or maybe Mew. The actual Jesus of Pokemon is Quagsire, and now I'm going to go to hell. I apologize, God, please do not smite me. So the reason that Quagsire is the metaphorical Jesus of Pokemon is it just keeps fucking coming back from the dead. Quagsire is a Pokemon where it will always be able to do something, no matter the generation, no matter the tier. Quagsire is always going to exist. It is like Thanos. This Pokemon is inevitable. And the reason is because of Unaware. Now, this Pokemon does have a decent move pool for being something like a Stall Pokemon. It has, Recover, it's got Toxic. I think it gets Yawn now. Let me once again fact-check myself and find out that I'm wrong. Nope, it does get Yawn. It gets moves like Curse, it's got Haze. So this Pokemon does have all the makings of a Stall Pokemon. It's got a good typing in Water Ground. The problem is it has 95 HP, 85 defense, and 65 special defense. So, let's think about this. Quagsire is a Pokemon that has Unaware, however it can't take hits. How is this a Pokemon that keeps coming back no matter what? The issue is, or the answer is that it doesn't need to take more than one hit. It just needs to be able to take like 1 or 2 hits and then recover it off. Because you're never going to be able to break this Pokemon if you can't kill it in like at least 2 hits. Because if it's able to switch in on like a resisted move and get a Toxic off, unless you can kill it the next turn, it is just going to keep recovering on you. And that is the magic of Unaware. You could literally slap this on a Pokemon with 95 HP, 85 defense, and 65 special defense, and it becomes an unkillable stall monster. Unless you Toxic it, you are not going to kill this thing, or unless you have a grass move, but this is 2024, we have Terastallization. I'm not saying that Quagsire is like an overpowered Pokemon. It's nothing like Gen 8 Clef, where it was just like unkillable completely. But it's just so like... you can always use Quagsire. It is always an option that is available to you. Someone please send this to Mayro. I really hope Mayro sees this video, because I know she is the biggest Quagsire fan. I'm sure she would be glad to find out that Quagsire is my metaphorical Jesus Christ of Pokemon. And I'm going to conclude the video there. That's all I got. Like, subscribe, boom, all that. Comment down below other fun Pokemon, I guess. Have a good day.